at fence 15 and 16, which are the very scary looking angled brushes. And Doug's going to give us a little take on how he thinks this is going to ride.
Sure. Well, I think there's every year at Rolex there's some fence or combination that has people talking back in the barn and people not sleeping terribly well at night, and this seems to be one of them for sure. I think you're probably one of 2 or 3 combinations on the course that is just really challenging. They are going to, the horses are actually right behind us. You can see 13, and that's heading up into the hollow. It's the first real big pull that the horses go in, and I tell you what, at the top of the hollow there, oftentimes it's best, you know, give the horses almost a step or 2 just to sort of catch their breath and get going. They come through, it's a difficult combination up there. Then you're actually coming down the hill towards number 15 here, this sort of, you know, roll top house speed or whatever you want to call it. I think ultimately that jump isn't necessarily challenging on its own, but I think it's very important that you get the exact shape of your horse's jump over that fence as you possibly can get. You'd like to really, although the downward terrain is going to pull your horse down to the base of it, you know, so you want to see if you can't get there, so they jump in a very round way, which will allow them to land in a balanced canter. If you watch also, then the terrain is pulling sort of right down towards the camera here, and it's also falling away a little bit left to right, and then we're turning into now what is this very steep angle on the 2 brushes here at 16A and B. The terrain going left to right is obviously going to invite a right-handed or right run out. You have an option, but you actually only have an option on the A element here. So I think Derek was very, very clever about this, because basically what it's telling you or telling the riders is basically you need to know or have a very good feeling about getting through this combination your first shot. And if you think you've got what it takes, then you're going to take it on head on. If you feel they're any bit wishy-washy or happen to jump this and they trip or do something, whatever it might be, you'll see I think a handful, but it's really going to be interesting to see how these ride. Riders would have to take the 16A alone, or there's a black flag. This is this house over here. Anyway, long story short, come down here, really, really important, make sure that the turn happens with your right rein and right leg, right? Don't let their shoulder at all fall to your right. A forward confident ride to the A element, it's 2 strides between the 2. And I think ultimately if you set it up well, just like you're going to see at the head of the lake there, the key to these combinations is getting in correctly, and that'll allow you to continue out. I think any small error, you've got to think, right, if you're coming in a little bit of a lack of balance, the first jump is going to destabilize you, and then all of a sudden you're fighting your way back in. And I think if you can get in and get the first A or B element in a decent balance and a good pace, then the horses will see it, they'll lock on, and on you go.